Coming up on Unpeeled, this famous artist turned the lights back on at this year's Grammys.
We're previewing this year's Super Bowl celebrity appearances.
Grab your sleds and winter gear for these upcoming Syracuse winter events.
And this Heartstopper is making his mark on the Broadway stage. All that and more, Unpeeled starts right now. Welcome to a brand new episode of Unpeeled. I'm Lily Evans.
And I'm LaMalfa. Now for breaking news from the House of Mouse.
Disney announced a flurry of new films set to release in the upcoming years. A teaser trailer was released earlier for the upcoming Moana sequel. The film promises to introduce a, quote, brand new crew of unlikely seafarers.
Also, during Disney's quarterly earnings call, CEO Bob Iger confirmed Toy Story 5, which is set to release in 2026 along with Frozen 3. The film is set to hit theaters on November 27th, and Disney Plus has renewed Percy Jackson and the Olympians for a second season. Early Tuesday morning, legendary country singer Toby Keith passed away at the age of 62 after a battle with stomach cancer. In a statement from his social media team, it states he was surrounded by family and fought with grace and courage. Keith announced in June of 2022 that he was living with cancer.
Despite this diagnosis, he continued to write and perform, last appearing in Las Vegas in December. During his career, it is estimated that he sold between 25 to 30 million records and around 10 billion digital streams. Our thoughts are with his family at this time. And Jacob Elordi is involved in a police investigation in Australia. This Saturday, he allegedly physically assaulted radio producer Joshua Fox. Fox addressed the situation on his show, The Kyle and Jackie O Show.
Fox said he approached Elordi at a hotel and asked if he could have some of his bathwater for Jackie O's birthday, referencing a scene from Elordi's latest film, Saltburn. When Elordi asked Fox to stop filming, there was a physical altercation, but this is an ongoing story.
Now, Alexa, Elordi has made it clear that he's not really one to enjoy speaking to the press, but making this a physical altercation really just takes things too far.
Now, I can only imagine how awkward it is to film such an intimate scene like this, and for it to be the only thing brought up during interviews is so frustrating because there's so many other good points.
Right, you're totally right. And I mean, I don't know much about this Joshua Fox guy, but a lot of people are kind of saying that he deserved to be punched. I mean, Jacob Elordi in the media is known as a sweetheart, so a lot of people think that Fox was the one responsible for this.
Now, as journalists, we can look at this as an example on how far are we willing to go to get a headline. I mean, are the actors' personal lives, being considered?
Right, it doesn't really seem like it at this point. And I mean, the viral bathwater candle that's been going around and been shoved in his face since the release of the film, I mean, I think he's just fed up, and I think that's fair.
Now, Joe Rogan recently renewed his contract with Spotify. The new contract will allow his podcast titled The Joe Rogan Experience to be distributed to other platforms. This multi-year deal comes after 3 years of the show being exclusive to Spotify.
Rogan has received a lot of backlash over the years because of his anti-coronavirus comments and the use of racial slurs. Now, while Spotify condemned Rogan's actions, artists such as Neil Young and Joni Mitchell have removed their music from the platform over the last few years in response.
Now, Lily, Spotify is taking a new approach with their podcasts because of this deal by forcing companies to buy ads through Spotify. It's more profitable for them as a company.
Right, yeah, this is really, really interesting. I mean, $250 million is like a mind-boggling amount of money. This is $50 million more than his original deal from 2022 that caused these artists to pull their music from Spotify.
Absolutely, and Spotify is the place to be for podcasting, considering you can record, edit, monetize, distribute your podcast through that entire platform.
Right, absolutely. And I think Spotify is hopeful that they will make more money on this podcast in the long run by increasing his deal by a whopping 25%.
And by making this podcast a non-platform exclusive, they're helping their reputation because of his history of scandal.
Right, absolutely. He's been criticized for hosting some controversial people on his show, like talking a lot about conspiracy theories, and then, of course, the infamous coronavirus scandal and misinformation. So interesting to see how things will go in the next year. Well, on February 1st, Billy Joel released a new single titled Turn the Lights Back On, marking the first song he has released in 17 years. After famous songwriter Freddie Wexler met with Billy Joel as a birthday gift from his wife, he influenced the singer to release a new song.
Joel initially teased the song on his Instagram on January 22nd. He performed the song at the Grammys this past weekend and received a standing ovation from the audience. According to Joel, it was the first time he has felt joy from his music in such a long time. And staying on the topic of the Grammys, after winning Best Pop Vocal Album this weekend, Taylor Swift surprised fans with the announcement of a brand new album called The Tortured Poets Department. The album is set to be released on all platforms on April 19th.
The announcement stunned fans everywhere who were all predicting that Swift would announce Reputation Taylor's version. Fans also have speculations that the album will be about her ex, Joe Alwyn. I guess we have to wait and see.
Now, Lily, this is all I could ever ask for and more. I mean, I was definitely rooting for Taylor Swift's Reputation because that's my favorite album ever, but I can't even tell you how I reacted to this news.
I feel like I can probably guess, but tell me, how did you react?
I cried. A lot.
Yeah, that's probably what I would have assumed. Well, Swifties everywhere, including yourself, have been keeping up with her social media, all these black and white posts that are alluding to Reputation, but now knowing Swift's 11th album is called Tortured Poets Department, I don't even know what she has in store for us. I'm so excited.
I mean, there's so much speculation since this album was written 2 years before Midnight. Is this a breakup album? Is this going to be a new sound for Swift? What does this mean for the Eras Tour? I mean, I have so many questions and theories. I feel like I could take up a whole Unpeeled show just telling you about them.
Oh, don't I know it. Maybe off camera you have to fill me in because I feel like my Taylor knowledge is like not fully up to par.
But you know what they say, there'll be no explanation, there'll just be Reputation, so maybe it's coming for us in the future.
I sure hope so.
And when we return from the Grammys to the Super Bowl, Taylor Swift is everywhere. All you need to know to prepare for Super Bowl Sunday.
And the esports world had some shocking surprises at the first ever East Asian World Cup. We'll be back in 2 short minutes.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner!
Go. Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there. We're the family.
Yeah!
Oh, I thought you were on my team.
You quit smoking and thought, that's that. But here's the thing about lung cancer. By the time you see the symptoms, it could be too late. But now, there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early, when it's more curable. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back, Unpeelers. Tensions are getting high in the gaming world. Our esports reporter Drew Alba is here to tell us about a controversial decision made at an international esports tournament. Drew?
Of the 16-team tournament? Or were there only 15 teams? Team Hong Kong was set to participate in the soccer esports competition, but withdrew just hours before the start of the contest. The city pulled out of the event after the tournament organizer failed to change the in-game team name from Hong Kong to Hong Kong, China. That small name change was discussed for multiple days between the two sides, but no resolution was made. This situation comes off the back of Hong Kong's Sport Federation posting a series of guidelines last year which required putting China at the end of the Hong Kong name. These specific regulations were put into place after Hong Kong fans booed the Chinese national anthem at an international soccer game against Myanmar. If Hong Kong athletics fail to follow requirements, funding will be taken away as well as the right to represent the city. The Chinese government has the ability to enforce these guidelines in Hong Kong because of an agreement made in 1997 known as One Country, Two Systems. In recent years, Beijing has cracked down on enforcement, leading to violent protests from Hong Kong citizens. Tension between citizens and the government has only been rising as of late and will reach a climax this summer in Paris. At the Olympics, Hong Kong will be represented as Hong Kong, China. What will the response be at a local and global level? Well, if the situation last weekend indicated anything, is that the East Asian Cup is a microcosm for what we will see at the Olympic Games and has set precedent for the future of Hong Kong athletics. Lily, over to you.
So much, Drew. While Hong Kong esports is making shockwaves in the eastern part of the world, in the West, North America prepares for the biggest game of the year, the Super Bowl. Here to help break down everything that is happening in the big game is our industry reporter Riley Lucetta and our sports reporter Nathaniel Cunningham. So great to have you both here.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Of course, of course. So, Nate, the Super Bowl is obviously the biggest game of the year. Who is playing that I should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, so it's going to be the biggest game of the year between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. And there's really just two storylines that when you look at the Chiefs, we've got Patrick Mahomes. He is the guy. In 6 years as a starter in the NFL, he has made the AFC Championship 6 times. This is his 4th Super Bowl appearance. If he wins, he's going to officially solidify himself as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But on the other hand, you got Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, pick number 262 in the 2022 NFL Draft. If he goes out there and wins the Super Bowl, he's going to be the comeback story, the David of Goliath, almost, if you will. And I got to go with the Niners. I like that story.
All right, yeah, talk about an underdog. Well, let's talk about the real reason I'm watching this Sunday, the commercials. Riley, what should we expect?
Well, let's first start by talking about what I'm personally most excited for, and that is the Kris Jenner x Oreo campaign. I mean, what a great combination. But so many companies are using this huge audience to reinvent themselves. For example, Paramount Plus is trying to attract more subscribers to their platforms. They are doing this by campaigning a new campaign that is going to be called the Paramount Mountain. Now, a similar strategy is being used by the Bud Light campaign, and that is why it is because they had a controversy last year where their revenue plummeted 10.5%. Now they're trying to make up for lost time by doing a 60-second campaign that will feature soccer star Messi, and I am very excited to see how that goes.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, definitely. And well, here's the big question that I know you both are probably wondering. Will Taylor Swift be at the Super Bowl?
I mean, she's got to be
She's got to be, right?
She has to be there. And a lot of fans are worried that she won't because she has a show in Tokyo only days before the big game. And people are wondering, will she have time to recover from jet lag? Will she be able to make the game? But the Japan embassy has done their research, has done their math, and they are saying that she will have time to recover and be present at the game. So
let's not forget, Taylor Swift generated almost $330 million for the NFL in just about 10 weeks. It's been an incredible time, and I never thought in my wildest dreams that we'd see Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl, but I guess it would be truly the cultivation of a true love story, if you will.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, thanks, Nathaniel and Riley. The biggest night in music took place over the weekend. We'll break down all the looks when we return.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Once a year, music artists flex their creativity not just on the airwaves but on the red carpet. The 2024 Grammys aired Sunday to celebrate the music industry's finest. Our lifestyle reporter Sofia Zenovich is here to tell us what worked on the Grammys runway and which outfits should have stayed home. Sofia, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Alexa. I'm so excited to talk about the Grammys, and this year I was honestly very surprised.
Really? So, starting positively, what looks did you really like?
So I really liked Janelle Monáe in this beautiful Armani privé gown. It was sparkling it was black and had white accents, and that flower trend that everyone's doing right now, she did that, but I think she pulled it off really well. And going along with the theme, a lot of the dresses were very classic, like old Hollywood. So Coco Jones was wearing this shimmering, it was a teal blue dress, and it reminds me a little bit of an Under the Sea themed prom, but I loved it. I thought it was so cute, and the diamonds she wore with it really accented it. And then the last one, which everyone was talking about, Miley Cyrus.
Yes.
Yeah, but she had multiple looks. So my favorite was her performance look that she wore for Flowers. It was just gorgeous. It was like Tina Turner rock and roll, very cool with like the big hair. So that was probably my favorite look of the night.
I agree. But now, what looks threw you off?
So I know that musical artists usually make a stand at the Grammys, so if they're wearing something that's particularly bad or kind of off-putting, there's a reason. So don't come for me, fans, but boy genius. I know everyone loves it, but I can't get behind the white suits. But the pink carnations were there for a reason. It was a nod to Elliott Smith, who the band really bonded over. So that was really nice to see them, show this, especially super fans were obsessed about the pink carnations, but I just couldn't get behind the white suits. But it's okay. And then the Kat Graham was in a white dress that had this cape going on, and it was giving sexy envelope. It just didn't work. It was not my favorite look. And then Doja Cat was another look that a lot of people liked or hated, and it was going back to that kind of classic dress that everyone was wearing, but it was see-through to show off her tattoos. So it was kind of cool, but the overlay of the sheer fabric just wasn't my favorite. And also the styling, she's wearing these chunky earrings and her reader glasses, it just didn't work for me.
Well, Sophia, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Alexa, for having me.
Sophia, I'm gonna need you in my closet to help sift through my wardrobe because it seems like you have it figured out. Well, the winter months in Syracuse can be daunting, but there are a variety of events to bring in some summer fun. Here to give us the rundown on two big events happening is Syracuse events reporter Tegan Brostrom.
Thanks, Lily. The weather we've been having recently isn't your typical Syracuse winter weather. Let's keep our fingers crossed it stays like that. But regardless of the weather, Syracuse City has a variety of winter events lined up for its residents. Last weekend, the 5th annual Syracuse Winter Fair took place at the New York State Fairgrounds. Think summer state fair vibes, but all indoors. The fair offered rides, food, and entertainment for all ages. The fair prioritized the great diversity of Syracuse in the showcasing a variety of cultures. Fair organizer Steve Becker says, quote, "Within the community, we have to recognize that there's diversity. The result is that we're all from the same seed and we have to appreciate the different cultures." And the fair did just that. Different cultures shined through in the entertainment. There were performances by the Six Nations Native American dancers, Latin dance group, and an Irish Dance Academy competition even took place, with the winners winning unlimited tickets for rides. And if you're disappointed that you missed the winter fair, not to worry, there is more winter fun to be had. The Syracuse Winter Fest will take place from February 15th through the 25th at the Syracuse Inner Harbor. And unlike the fair, this event is outside and will hold one-of-a-kind Central New York events like a chili cook-off, human dog sled races, sandwich strolls, and a wing walk. The annual treasure hunt will also take place. An 1.5-inch plastic medallion will be hidden around in a public area in Onondaga County, so keep your eyes open. The Winter Fair and Fest are bringing people out of their homes and together into the community during these long winter months. Now, Lily, will I be seeing you out there for a human dog sled race?
Oh, absolutely, you know it. Well, when we return, one daytime TV star is returning to the spotlight after disappearing for a few years. You won't want to miss it.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Over the last 2 years, daytime TV show fans have had one big question on their minds. Where is Wendy Williams? Well, answers are finally revealed. Our TV reporter Ben Dietrich is here to talk about the new trailer for a Wendy Williams documentary. Ben, so great to have you here. I'm so excited to talk about this.
Lily, I'm very excited to talk about this.
All right, well, Ben, before we dive in, let's talk about the legacy of Wendy Williams. Why should people care about this documentary?
Well, to say that Wendy Williams has left a mark on the TV industry would frankly be an understatement. She has taken entertainment news to a whole new level. Like it or not, she has found a way to stir up a lot of discussion over her sometimes controversial celebrity interviews on TV. And her influence extends even past the broadcasting world. She has donated funds to scholarships. She has been very unafraid to take her stance on social issues. Wendy Williams has been such a huge part of so many people's lives, and all of a sudden in 2022, her show just seemingly ended out of nowhere. And that's what this documentary is going to focus on.
Oh, so interesting. Well, the trailer for this documentary just got released, so what do we know so far?
So the trailer starts out with some narration talking about the legacy of Wendy Williams and why she's so important to so many people. But we quickly find out that she's been dealing with a lot of mental health and alcohol abuse problems over the last couple years. And in the trailer, there are interviews with her family members expressing this concern. Now, obviously, they're family. They're going to support Wendy, and they all believe that she can change for the better.
Right, well, that's always a good thing to have your family on your side. So, lastly, why is this documentary needed?
Well, Wendy herself claims that she's been dealing with financial issues as well. She claims that her manager helped Wells Fargo deny her access to her bank funds. Let's take a look at what Wendy herself had to say about that.
Wells Fargo has used all this stuff to create the guardianship over me. This is not right.
So clearly some big time allegations there. There have been so many questions about Wendy Williams over the last couple years, and this documentary should answer a lot of those questions.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Ben.
Absolutely.
And speaking of Wendy Williams, did you know in 2013 she played matron Mama Morton in Chicago on Broadway? Chicago has a history of stunt casting or casting celebrities to generate publicity, but they aren't the only show. Here to tell us more is our Broadway reporter Charlene Nomany.
Thanks, Alexa. Joe Locke is known for his role as Charlie Spring in the Netflix series Heartstopper, but he's recently made his Broadway debut as Tobias Ragg in Sweeney Todd. Locke is not new to stage performance, debuting in a production of The Trials in 2022, but this will be his first time in a musical. In a 2022 interview with Netflix, Locke said he'd love to be in a musical, but he wasn't sure he had the voice. Well, congrats, Locke, because thousands of fans think you do. Hadestown is also engaging in stunt casting. Lola Tung from Amazon's The Summer I Turned Pretty will be taking over the role of Eurydice starting February 9th. The star has never been in a professional stage production, previously doing musicals in middle school. Across the pond, actors Tom Holland and Cara Delevingne are gracing the West End. Tom Holland will be leading a revival of Romeo and Juliet, while Delevingne will join the musical Cabaret as the MC. While Tom Holland is known for his role as Spider-Man, he got a start on the West End in Billy Elliot the Musical. For Delevingne, this will be her first stage production. It's very rare for a person to get a lead role on Broadway with no previous professional experience or formal training, but it's different for celebrities. Stunt casting gets flack from Broadway fans for taking roles away from people who may be more deserving and bringing down the quality of productions. But for these productions, it means more tickets sold. Chicago has been running on Broadway for 28 years, partially due to the casting of stars like Pamela Anderson. Although this practice does often result in less than spectacular performances, stars like Joe Locke are showing us that there is a right way to stunt cast. Fans also have high hopes for Lola Tung, Tom Holland, and Cara Delevingne.
Thanks, Charlene. When we return, we're discussing who made an appearance at the NHL All-Star Game this past weekend. We'll be right back on Peelers.
Welcome to my house. Lately, not my happy place. Everybody's pretty tired of each other. The parents were not themselves. My little brothers were morphing into small creatures. The walls were closing in. Clearly, a case of too much family, too close, 24/7. And there's a lot of that going around right now. If this sounds like your house, try going someplace new. YourLifeYourVoice.org. You'll find lots of ideas to help you handle the family stresses of being confined to close quarters. YourLifeYourVoice.org. It might not get you out of the house, but it could help you find a little more breathing room.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
All of the stars were out in Toronto for the NHL All-Star Weekend. After canceling his world tour in September of 2022, Justin Bieber surprised fans with a special performance that included his hits Peaches and Baby.
Oh, two of my favorite songs of all time. Tate McRae headlined the game on Sunday and performed 2 hit songs from her new album, Think Later, which is rumored to be about a former NHL player. Other stars, including Michael Bublé and Will Arnett, also appeared at the event.
Now, this was Bieber's first public show in over a year, which is a pretty big deal, and if you're a believer, you know he's a big hockey fan, and his fashion brand, Drew House, even designed the players' all-star jerseys.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. That's so cool. I had no idea that his fashion brand, like, the All-Star Game's a big game, so that's awesome. Good for him. Well, I personally have had Bieber fever for like 10 years now, so definitely love to see him on stage, especially in his home country. Both Bieber and McRae got to captain their respective teams, and Team Matthews, which was Bieber's team, did end up coming out on top.
Now, Tate McRae is the face of pop these days, and she's supported by tons of young women, so her showing support for the Professional Women's Hockey League is really important.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The PWHL is a really new thing. It was founded in August of last year, so if anyone can get the word about it, it's Tate McRae. Exactly. Come on, like the Gen Z girls, we love her. I'm obsessed with her. We talked about how this album is rumored to be about an ex. Well, what better way to stick it to him than by performing at the NHL All-Star Game?
And Lily, to add fuel to the fire, McRae was seen leaving holding hands with a fellow musician, the Kid Laroi.
I mean, we know she's the best at breakup anthems, but hopefully with this new relationship, we'll see some love songs from her. I don't know, hopefully.
But unfortunately, that's all the time we have with you tonight.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on our socials at Unpeeled_Syracuse on Instagram and TikTok, and at CitrusTV on X. I'm Lily Evans.
And I'm Alexa LaMalfa. We'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. From all of us at Unpeeled, stay fearless, Syracuse.